Hello again, I'm Stephen Jerome. I'm going to continue reading from my third novel, The London Year. It's raining like crazy outside, so I've moved things inside. The big portrait of me by my friend, the artist Mike Saijo. There's a very interesting story about that portrait. And if you're interested, let me know, and I'll take some time and talk to you about that too. Also, there's going to be more pictures from my Hollywood Society days. I'm going to be posting those more regularly, interspersing with these videos. So Terry, who's our protagonist, and his two flatmates, Finn, the artist, and Gracie, are all sitting around in the sitting room with Sebastian, the famous model, and he is now talking about how he got started as a kid, actually. So he was saying that he discovered the dawn of his power, which was in fact the power of beauty. Sorry, I have to say it, he said, and I began to approach my looks as a business. He took a moment to let that sink in. Sure, the door's open, but what do you do when you're in the room? You can't just stand there and stare back just because they're staring at you. You have to make something happen. He let that sink in too. And I began to see there was very little vanity in him. He was all about business from the very start, by the sound of it. Then at school, because they did teach me a thing or two, Sebastian goes on, I discovered the ancient Greeks and Romans, the Renaissance, all the portraits and statues. They practically made a religion out of beauty, said Finn. Exactly what I thought, especially adolescent beauty, and I realized I was right in the pocket. A fucking Greek god, Finn said, not half joking. I saw those faces, the adoration, and what? I said, now totally drawn in with the others. Sebastian sat back, taking a sip of his wine. I put two and two together is what. Started working the looks, said Finn with an evil chuckle. The appeal, I countered. Yes, Terry, the appeal, that's a better word. I worked the appeal, first to win me mum back, and that didn't work. She only had eyes for her boyfriend, Don Juan. Right, so I began studying his appeal. Like I said, he was a good-looking guy, but there was more. Hard to put your finger on it, especially when you're a kid. Then I realized it was the confidence. He was simply at ease with who he was, even if he did dress like a pimp. Still, what can you do when you're only 12 years old? What did you do, I asked. I tried a new angle, cooking. The restaurant, said Gracie. You're way ahead of me, smart girl. She's referring to the restaurant that Sebastian is working on opening. And then he upstairs, in a single building, downstairs and upstairs, he has his new modeling agency to come. Anyway, you're way ahead of me, smart girl, he said. Yeah, I had a knack for it. Tried to, chef my way back into Mum's attention. Well, how did that go? I truly hope Finn was taking notes, because he's doing a portrait of Sebastian. Well, I learned about food, read some books, tried my hand. Mainly, I dreamed about owning my own restaurant one day, but as a kid, who can compete with those nice places Don Juan was taking us to? Of course not, said Gracie, crestfallen. Then one day, I let a local photographer take some pictures of me. He sent them to an agency. I thought it was a lark, but they called back. Then they kept calling. I still hadn't put it all together, but I caught on quick, didn't I? Money, said Gracie, like she'd found treasure. Money and good advice. From Don Juan, I asked. No, Gracie said, suddenly excited. The photographer. Right again, said Sebastian. Girlfriend, you are catching on quick. Gracie smiled, thrilled. So that photographer, he knew the game. Got me a few jobs modeling catalogs, boring work showing off trousers and jumpers for Marks and Sparks. But I was the first dark-skinned model they'd ever used. There I was in print, stamp of approval. Then, when I was 16, the photographer, who was by then acting as my manager, he put the moves on me. Oh shit, I said almost involuntarily. You mean he... Gracie let the words trail off. That's exactly what I mean, Sebastian said. Now what did you do, said Finn. Do? Sebastian asked, as if the answer was obvious. I did smart. I'm going to skip over this just a little bit, and then we'll continue with, I did have standards. Still do, actually, though the goalposts have moved somewhat. Besides, I was scared shitless. You were a tease. Sebastian smiled coyly. Not so, Terry. I was a survivor like my mum. And an entrepreneur, Finn said with a French accent. Well, that's a big word, considering I was basically by myself. You diversified, said Gracie. Let's say I spread it around a little, but only to the particularly useful parties. No need to draw a picture. I wasn't interested in sex. I just needed to open doors, enough to straddle the next big hurdle. No pun intended, said Finn. Sebastian looked around. Oh, you are a cheeky lot, he said. But we all use what we've got, don't we? I was still barely 17, still came home to me mum every night, but I was making plans. I wanted bookings like the big boys, knew I could do the job, given the chance. I had the walk, the stare, a kind of cross between F you and F me, I shouted too loudly, the wine having taken hold. The room went momentarily silent. Then Finn said, if we must, ever so politely. Christ, I totally walked into that one. I actually hated the expression. I'd never heard it before I came to England. I'd never said it out loud. My wine-buzzed enthusiasm was more to blame than any actual leanings in that regard. But Finn clocked it, and Sebastian, he was always looking for an in. This may have been the moment Sebastian knew that he had me pinned. Still, I was glad Tess wasn't around. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. We'll continue with part 45. My goodness. We'll get to know Sebastian a little more, and the others, of course, as the plot thickens, which it will. So I'll leave it there. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow. Bye.